So let me revise some basic, okay, about growth, how we define growth, okay. Then I will be coming to actually what we want to do, okay, or what we have done till now, okay. So if you have x variable, write down determining growth, okay. How we can write growth equation? So in a discrete form, you write delta x over x. If x is a variable and you want to take out the growth of x, you take out change in x over x. What is change in x? x2 minus x1 over x1. Okay, this is how you take out growth. Okay, and I have discussed with you people, okay, that if you remember this basic argument that I am developing now, okay, next step will be clear. What we have done yesterday, that will be clear. What we are going to do in the future, that will be clear. Okay. So this is your output. Let me write with you that I have used the notation. So this is my output. This is my price. Okay. So consider an economy that produce one output, and this is the price level. Say in 2019, output is 100, price level is 1. Okay. So GDP will be what? Price into output. This is my current GDP. So this is 1 into 100 is 100. Okay. In 2020, I told everyone please join around 2 and 5. Okay. Don't do name, just join by 2 and 5. Okay. So in 2020, my output is say 100, but price level increases to 141. Okay. So my current GDP in 2019 is 100, but when I look at in 2020, okay, GDP, current GDP, okay, current GDP means at current price. Current price is 1.1 in 2002, 1 rupees 10 paisa, okay. GDP in 2020, current GDP, okay, is price of 2020 into quantity of 2020. Okay, this is 1.1 into 100 is 110. Okay, so in 2019, my nominal GDP or current GDP, is based on that year price. Okay, in 2020, my current or nominal GDP is 110. So can we say that there is an increase in GDP of the economy by looking at this data? Can we say that there is an economic growth taking place in the economy? We see that nominal GDP increases from 100 to 110. Can we say that economy is growing? There is two ways to look at how economy grows, right? Yes or no? One, total output is increasing, and in output per worker term. Okay. Can we look at this data given to us and look at this thing that my nominal GDP increases from 100 to 110? Can we say that economy is growing? No, we cannot say that economy is growing. Why? Because your output, real output, remains the same, right? Your real output remains the same. Yes or no? Okay. So this I am repeating again and again. I have done in the beginning. Please revise what we are doing. Okay. What is real output? How much command over real commodity you have? Okay. Suppose this is the pen. Suppose this is the only consumption good available on earth. Okay. And say price level of this pen is 5. Okay. And my income is 100. So how much command over this commodity I have? How many of this commodity I can buy for consumption? 20 unit. Yes or no? Price into this commodity X. This is the only consumption good I have, equal to your money income. Okay. So X will be income divided by price level. So real command over commodity I have 20. Okay. Now, if price level increases to 10, how much real command over commodity I have? This commodity 10. So my command over commodity is falling. Okay. So when price level increases, actual command over commodity is falling. Okay. So here, when we look at this data, or you can say purchasing power, okay, of that individual that having constant income is falling. Okay. So when we look at here, your real GDP is not changing, only your price level is increasing. Okay. So there is no growth in output. Output growth is not taking place. That means real output is not growing. Actual command of a commodity of the people of the country is not changing. It is remaining 100. Okay. There may be the case that inflation is taking place, that means price level is increasing. Okay. Maybe there will be impact on distribution of income. We are not going into that aspect. Okay. We are only saying that for the time being, okay, that real command of a commodity of the people of the country is not changing. Okay. My real GDP is not changing. Okay. Real command of our output is not changing. So there is no economic growth taking place. Okay. But if we want to look at a growth rate of GDP in nominal term, okay. So what I have to do? Y2. This is what my nominal GDP in period 2019. So this is Y1. Okay. This is my nominal GDP in period 2. This is Y2. Okay. So what is growth rate? I told you this is the definition. So growth rate in GDP, change in Y over Y. So it is what? Y2 minus Y1 over Y1. You will multiply with 100, you will get the percentage. Okay. So Y2 is how much? 110. Okay. New GDP is Y2, current year. Y1 is previous period, 100 divided by 100. Okay. So you will get 10 by 100. Okay. And when you multiply with 100, you can get the percentage. Okay. So multiply with 100, I will get 10% growth in nominal GDP. Okay. So my nominal GDP increases by 10%. Does it mean that my real GDP increases? Real command of a commodity increases? No. Everyone getting my point? Yes, no? Oh. Now, next is my real GDP. How we calculate real GDP? Based on my base year price. Okay. So I consider a particular base year. Suppose India want to calculate real GDP. India consider 2013 as base year. Okay. And based on that, every year price they have calculated. Okay. So they will keep this price and output of the next period. Okay. Like suppose I have taken 2019 as my base period. Base year. Okay. Now, since I have considered 2019 as my base year, okay, so this is my nominal GDP as well as real GDP. Okay, if I consider 2013 as base year, so if I want to take out real GDP in 2019, okay, 2019, I will write the price of 2013. Okay, since I am only considering two period, I write 2019 price here. Okay, so my real and nominal GDP, if I consider that particular year to be my base year, in that year my nominal and real GDP will be same. Okay, now look at next period. Okay, real GDP in period 2020. How much real command over commodity I have? I have shown you that price level increases. Okay, in my example, real command over commodity fall. Okay, so real GDP of 2020, price of 2019. Okay, because that is my base year into quantity of output in 2020. Okay, whatever base year you will take the price of that year and commodity of this year. So price of base year is 1, output of this year is 100. So your real GDP remains the same. There is no change in real GDP. Okay, this is your Y2. This is your real output. Put it star. Okay. So if I want to look at how much real command of a commodity is changing over time, I will do delta Y over Y. This is real term. Okay. So Y2 new output, okay, is 100. Previous output is 100 divided by 100. So change in your real GDP is 0. That means command over commodity of the people of the country has no change. Okay. What has actually happened is that price never increases, which we call inflation. Okay. Again I say, if you want to take a growth rate of price level, growth rate of output level, simply you have to do this. Delta P by P. This will give me growth rate in price level. This is my inflation. I denote by part. This is what P2 minus P1 over P1. And when you multiply with 100 this thing, okay, you will get inflation rate. Okay, you will get your inflation rate. So what is the P2? P2 is 1.1, 1 rupees 10 paisa. Let me rub this part. 1.1. P1 is 1 rupee divided by 1 rupee into 100. Okay, so this will be 0.1. 0.1 into 100. 0.1 will be 1 by 10. So your price level increases by 10%. Okay, so actually what is happening? Economy, when it moved from 2019 to 2020, price level increases by 10%. Okay, so there is an inflation in the economy 10%. Actual output had not changed. Okay, now take another example. Suppose in 2020 my output increases to 120, price level also increases. Okay, so my nominal GDP in 2019, what it will be? Nominal GDP. What will be my nominal GDP? Nominal GDP means current year quantity and current year price. Okay, so GDP or output in period 1. Okay, I have taken 2 period. I write nominal GDP. In period 2019 is price of 2019 into output of 2019, same period. Okay, so this is how much? 100 into 1, it will remain 100. Okay, now I want to look at nominal GDP in period 2020 by 2. Nominal GDP in period 2020. Okay, so price, I am talking about nominal GDP current year. So I will take price of 2020 into output of 2020. Okay, this is how much? 1.1 into 120. So how much you will get? 1.1 into 120. How much? This will be how much? 132. Is this correct? And even into 120. Then you will put point, because you have point here, so you will get 132. Okay, everyone got it? Okay, so when your output increases, okay, you see that in period 1 2019 your output is 100 and nominal output, okay, or nominal GDP is 132. Okay, but this 32 unit, 32 nominal GDP is not your actual output. Actual output increases only by 20. Okay, but my nominal GDP is showing 130. That means there is some problem. When we look in nominal GDP, it is not reflecting my real command over commodity. Okay, real command over commodity increases only by 20. Okay, but my nominal GDP is showing that it increases by 32%. Actually, it increases by 20% if you look at it. In simple example, from 100 to 120 is just 20% increase in real output. But when I look at my nominal GDP, it increases by 32%. Okay, just look at it. How we take out the growth rate? In this way, in discrete form. We are doing discrete example. Okay, so y2 multiply with 100, then you will get percentage term. Okay, so y2 minus y1 over y1 into 100. y2 is 132 minus y1 is 100 over 100 into 100. So this will cancel out, it will be 32%. So your nominal GDP increases by 32%. But does nominal GDP show you real command over commodity? No. Okay. So when you read the newspaper and when you listen to the news, listen to it properly. Okay. What they are saying? They are saying current or nominal GDP. If they say current or nominal GDP of India increases by 9%, 10%, okay, it does not mean that our real GDP is increasing. Okay. Major component may be because of inflation. Okay. Clear? Only when they will say that our real GDP increases, say by 4%, 5%, okay, then only you believe that actually we are having a proper actual command of the over the commodity is increasing, okay, of the people of the country. Given the assumption that distribution of the consumption pattern remain the same on that thing, okay, that we will do some other day. Okay? For the time it doesn't do so. Okay, so this is my nominal increase in GDP, 32%. Okay, generally economy have every year 8%, 9% growth. In this example, I have shown that it is 32%. Okay. Now, how much is the inflation that we have to look at? Okay. So, how we take out the inflation? You know, P2 minus P1 over P1 into 100. So, it will be 10%. Okay. So, inflation remains the 10%. Okay. Your output increases by 120. Okay. So, based on this output number, you will be having nominal GDP increased by 132. Okay, and 32% is the increase in your nominal GDP. Now I want to look at how much is the change in my real GDP. Okay, since I have considered 2019 as my base year. Okay, so this is my current GDP also and my base year GDP or real GDP. Okay, so whatever year I am considering, if you look at the data, some of you are going for research, this will be very important. Okay. So when you are calculating GDP, look at a base year that is used by the government. Okay. So sometimes what happens is that government change the base year. Okay. So when you move the base year, say from 2013 to 2018. Okay. So next period you will see that there is an increase in output, growth in output taking place. Okay. It will show higher growth in real output. Okay. But some of the economists contest that you have changed the base year. That is why you are showing higher growth. Okay, so government also, the government agency also do this kind of thing. Okay, when economy is facing problem and they have to show data, sometimes they change the base year, they move the base year to show higher growth rate. Even real high growth rate we can show by changing the base year. Okay, so this type of thing happen also. Okay, in the policy documents also. Okay, so this is common. Okay, now coming to real GDP. When I consider my base year to be 2019, current and real GDP will be same, so this will remain 100. So real GDP of 2020, say Y2 star. Okay. But price of my base year, price of base year is how much? 1, 2019 into output of 2020. So this will be 1 into 120. This is 120. Okay, so real GDP in 2020 I have is 120. So how much is the increase in GDP? Same formula will be used, delta Y over Y, real GDP into 100. Always remember, real GDP means real command over commodity. How much command over commodity I have? Okay, when economy is growing. If command over commodity not increasing, real GDP not increasing, economic growth will not increase. Okay, so in the definition I have finished real output growth. Okay. Okay. So this will be Y2 minus Y1 star, you can put it over Y1 star, that means GN. Okay, into 100. So Y2 is 120 minus 100 over 100 into 100. So this will cancel out. 120 minus 100 is 20%. So real GDP increases by 20%. Real command over commodity of the people of the country increases by 20%. Okay. This is what we mean by real GDP. Okay? So whenever you have to take out a growth rate in discrete form, you write then if X is a variable, okay, X can be anything. Your output, capital stock, labor force, consumption, investment. Okay. If I ask you to take out growth in output, just write change in Y over Y. I have shown you. Okay. You can multiply with it, that will give in percentage term. Okay, we no need to do it. This simply means Y2 minus Y1 over X2 minus X. Oh, sorry. Y2 minus Y1 over Y1. Okay. Similarly, when I say growth rate in capital stock in discrete form, this will be delta K over K. Okay. You will write K2 minus K1 over K. Similarly, growth rate in labor force, change in N over N, it will be N2 minus N1 over N1. Okay. Similarly for consumption and investment. Okay. In continuous time, okay, whatever variable you have, you take log of that one. I am taking natural now. Okay, it is easier to work with natural now when we are doing growth. Okay, so you have capital stock. Okay, I want to look at a growth rate in continuous time. I am going to drag that one later on because that is the important part. Okay, we have to drag solo recipe and all these things. So I have to drag that equation. For the time, let's understand this way. Okay, one minute. Okay. So I am taking natural log. Okay. When you take natural log, take derivative with respect to time. Okay. So this one I have done the derivation. Okay, we have done in the class. This will be what? Dk by k. Derivative of log of k is dk by k into 1 over dt. Okay. So dk in discrete time you can write dk by k, change k by k. Okay. So you can associate this change in time. Always remember 1 over change in time you have written. D means change. Okay. Is 1 over t2 minus t1. Okay. So you can take out the time period also. Whatever time period you have. Since we are considering here one time period, so t 2020 minus t 2019. So 1 divided by 1 it will be 2020 minus 2019 is 1. Okay. So in discrete time, if we are considering one time period, denominator will be 1. Okay. So this term is represented by this one. Okay. So no need to get panic when you look at this equation. Okay. This you simply write as in discrete time delta k by k into 1 over change in t. Okay. For only one period change, this change in t will be 1. Because 2020 minus 2019, okay, is 1. So this term will vanish. So this term will be equivalent to this one. Okay. But if we are considering longer period of time, say 20 year, 30 year, if I am comparing say 2000 with 2020. Okay. So if I am looking at a longer time period, then this t term will be important. Okay. Oh. So this term that I am writing here, this dk by k, I denote by k dot. Okay. Sorry, 1 minute, one correction. This is dk by k into 1 by t. Okay, 1 by dt. So this term. Okay, let me arrange it. dk by dt into 1 by k. Okay. So this dk by dt. Okay, I denote by k dot. And k, I simply k. Okay. So growth in capital stock over time, I denote by k dot. Okay. And in the denominator, you will be having growth capital stock in the denominator. Okay. So this represents my growth in capital stock in continuous time. Growth in capital stock. Okay. In discrete time, you just write delta k by k. Understanding this way. In continuous time, we write k dot by k. K dot is what? Growth in capital stock over time. Okay. In discrete time, you can write delta k by k. Okay. Notation is clear to everyone? Yes, no. What happened? Notation is clear or not? If not, then say no, I can do it, okay? This notation is clear to everyone? It's on burner, okay. I am recording, I will send the video, okay? Let's see is recording or not. Okay. So I will send the video because if you are not able to do this part, okay, Sono model will not be, you will not be able to understand. Okay? You can memorize and for sure you will make mistake in the examination. Take my word, okay? Question will be very easy from the Sono model. We will do on the iteration. If you understand the question, it will just take 3 to 4 minutes to write in the examination. Okay? I have sent one internal examination question paper. Okay? So that is an open book examination. So from 10 AM, the student can write anytime, 4 PM, 5 PM, 6 PM. Okay. So they are saying that they understand the question. Okay. They know what they have to write in the examination, but they are not able to do it. Okay. So in the final examination, you will not get paper like this. It will be simple. But if they give you no population growth, no technological progress, okay, or population growth is constant equal to n with no technological progress. So this 9, which I call depreciation 9, today I am going to call it break even 9. Okay, that 9 that you are drawing, it is going to change. Okay, the moment you add one notation extra in that 9, if it is 10 marks question, you are getting 0. Okay, every explanation will be correct. Only thing is that whatever is given in the equation question, based on that you have to write the answer. Okay. Okay. So this video will be available in website. Okay. And by first week of June, I plan to cover the course. Okay. So that people will have enough time to revise. Because I think by July people will be having examination. Okay. So I just finished that argument. Okay, let me write in big here. Okay. So if x is your variable, if I want to take out the growth rate in discrete time, I write delta x by x. Okay. In continuous time, what we do? We do take log of x. Okay. Then we take derivative with respect to time. Okay. This is time. So this will be, we have done this one in the class, okay. Check your previous notes. This will be dx over dt into 1 over x. Oh, yeah. So change in x, okay, over time, I do not buy x dot, okay, and this x I write. So this is growth in variable x over time, okay, and in discrete form you write in this way. Only remember this thing. Okay. Now I am coming to the main point. What we are going to do. So in the yesterday lecture, I am going to break each and every point of what we have done in the yesterday lecture, so that you can understand economics. The purpose of doing DSC paper is that you people should understand what actually happening. Okay, in the model. Okay. If it is core paper, we no need to do it, but this is DSC paper, we have to do it. Okay. So SONO model is designed to show how growth rate in capital stock, growth rate in labor force, and advancement in technology. Okay, these three interact. Okay, in an economy, as well as how they affect output level. Okay, this statement is clear to everyone. This is what in discrete form. Change in K by K, growth rate in capital stock. This is growth rate in labor force. This is advancement in technology. So SONO model is designed to show how growth rate in capital stock, growth rate in labor force, and advancement in technology, they three interact in an economy. Okay, as well as how they are going to affect the output. Okay. After that, we look at the SONO model design. Okay, we look at the demand and supply side. Okay. Supply, this is first point, this is second point, supply and demand. Okay. So supply of good is determined from the production function, New-Keynesian production function. So first we have not taken technology. Okay. So output is a function of capital and labor. Everyone can see the board? Okay. 1 minute. See, I'm repeating this thing again and again, okay? Because if basic is not clear in the SONO model, okay, even the reading that I have given, it will not be clear. Okay, that is. The output is a function of capital and labor. Production function is homogeneous of degree 1. Okay, that means that my production function exhibits constant equal to scale. That means if I increase the input by lambda, my output also increases by lambda. Okay, so we take lambda equal to 1 by n, we get what? Output per worker is a function of capital per worker. This is output per worker, this is capital per worker. Okay, where marginal product of capital per worker is positive, okay, and it is diminishing. That means if we keep adding one more factor, keeping other constant, it is adding positively to the output, but to a lesser amount. Okay, like my first unit of neighbor at 6 unit of output. When I add one more neighbor, keeping capital constant, it is adding 5 unit. Then I add third neighbor. Okay, it is adding only 3 unit. It is adding positively, but at decreasing rate. Okay, so we have a graph like this, increasing and decreasing rate like this. Okay, and we are doing in per capita term because Sono has defined economic growth in terms of per capita. Okay, so here I have taken capital per worker, I have taken output per worker. This is my production function in per worker term. Okay, so every time you draw, you repeat the thing that I am saying. Okay, so from demand side, you have supply side, you have this part. Okay, supply side. From demand side, okay, Sono has considered consumption expenditure demand and investment expenditure demand. Okay, so income is what? Consumption plus investment. So in per worker term, it will be like this. Okay, so output per worker equal to consumption per worker plus investment per worker, and consumption per worker. Okay, we have derived from this equation. Consumption what? Income is what? Either you consume or save. Okay, and saving is a proportion of income. So I write here this thing. Okay, take that term this side, it will be 1 minus S equal to C. So consumption per worker is nothing but 1 minus S, output per worker equal to C. C is my consumption per worker. Remember this thing. Okay. What is 1 minus small s? Anyone? What is my 1 minus small s? Small s is what? Marginal propensity to save. Yes or no? Yeah, it will be marginal propensity to consume, and it is easy to verify. Okay, I'm just adding one more thing. Okay, today I am going to discuss central equation of the Sono model. Okay, that is why I am writing all this thing again. Okay, so output is what? Consumption. You either consume or save. Okay, so change in output will be change in consumption and a change in saving. So I want to take out what is happening to your consumption and saving with respect to changing income. So this term will be 1 equal to marginal propensity to consume. I am not writing small c I use for consumption per worker. So I just write MPC plus your small s. So 1 minus s equal to marginal propensity to consume. So this is what? Marginal propensity to consume. I just directly write this. Okay, times output per worker. Okay, give me consumption per worker. Okay, remember this part. So consumption per worker is equal to 1 minus S Y. Okay, and here this equation. Remember this equation. Now I substitute this equation here. Okay, I get saving per worker. Okay, this is saving per worker. Saving propensity time output per worker is your saving per worker. You remember saving is a proportion of income divided by N. Okay, this is saving propensity output per worker. This term is saving per worker. Okay, is equal to investment per worker. In equilibrium, this term will be equal to this term. Okay, so in equilibrium, saving per worker, okay, equal to investment per worker. So this we have tried. Okay, this is my third equation. Okay, so the graph of this one I am drawing here. Okay, so since saving lies between 0 and 1, okay, this is my saving per worker saving. Okay, and distance, you know, this is saving per worker, investment per worker, and this one distance will be your consumption per worker. This is investment per worker or saving per worker. So this is from that side. This is your total output. So output either consume or save. Okay, that is what we have. This we have done yesterday, and we have talked about depreciation. Just 1 minute. Okay. So depreciation. Okay. So we have After this, we talk about growth of capital in stock. Okay, and you can write here side by side, no of motion in the Sono model. So it is the growth of capital in stock. Okay, or you can write change in capital in stock that provide motion to the Sono model. Okay, that means in the Sono model, when there is an accumulation of capital in stock, okay, then we can see that there is an increase in output per worker, consumption per worker, investment per worker. Okay, that we are going to see. Okay, so economic growth is a process of accumulation of capital in stock. Okay, this we have talked in the beginning in the Harrod model also. Economic growth is a process of accumulation of capital in stock. Okay, so here also it is the same thing. Economic growth is a process of accumulation of capital in stock. Okay, so growth of capital in stock equation we have tried, right? So gross investment is what? Net minus depreciation. Okay, so I am not going to derive it. Okay, you just have to remember one time. Okay, in the examination just write the final equation. Okay, so you know that change in capital in stock per worker, okay, equal to what? Investment minus depreciation, because investment increase the capital in stock as of FK. Investment increase the capital in stock, depreciation reduce the capital in stock. I am writing per worker. Okay, investment increase the capital in stock, depreciation reduce the capital in stock. That will give me my change in capital in stock per worker. There can be three possibilities: greater than, equal to, less than 0. Okay, and depreciation I talk about. Depreciation will be some proportion of your capital in stock. Let me write capital in stock. Okay, so depreciation per worker will be some proportion of capital per worker. That is why I am saying these are depreciation per worker. Depreciation per worker. Okay, so depreciation per worker will be equal to this term. This is what depreciation rate with the concept. It is a proportion of capital in stock per worker. Small. Okay, so remember the term that I am using. Okay, this term I am saying investment per worker. You can look at from here. Investment per worker. This is depreciation per worker. Depreciation per worker. You draw graph like this because there is a proportional relationship between capital in stock depreciate by delta. Okay, so we have a proportional relationship. Okay, so here I write depreciation, here I write capital in stock per worker. Okay, this is the depreciation line, delta. Okay, so we have this setup. Okay, so given this, we have drawn our depreciation line. Okay, this is my saving per worker line. So this is my depreciation line. Okay, don't make it up and touch your production function. Don't make that mistake. Okay, so I am getting one point here. I said this is your steady state level of capital in stock. Why? Look at net of it here. Okay, let me draw this blue line properly. Let me make it little bit up. Okay, then this graph everyone can see, or I make it big? Yes, no? Okay. Okay. Let me do it. This is the production function per worker term. Always write the terminology. This is capital per worker, this is output per worker. Okay, I am drawing depreciation line first. Okay, this is my saving line. Okay, saving per worker as of F. Now look at here. Okay, I said this is K star. Okay, where investment per worker equal to depreciation per worker. Okay, to the net of it, okay, say K1, my investment is more than depreciation. Okay, here at this point is corresponding to your saving per worker line or investment per worker line. If investment is more than depreciation, that means as of FK, that is investment per worker is greater than depreciation per worker. Okay, next period there will be addition to capital in stock. Capital in stock increases per worker. Capital in stock per worker increases. Okay, it means this K star. Then you have depreciation per worker more than your investment per worker. When depreciation is more than investment, capital stock will decrease, and it means this K star. Okay, that is why K star is called your steady state level of capital stock. Okay, clear? Okay, so when we are talking about steady state level of capital stock, there is a term used in the Sono model, break even investment. Okay, so I am using this term. Break even investment is that level of investment at which capital stock remain constant. Okay, that means investment equal to depreciation. Can you everyone? This line, depreciation line that I have drawn, okay, give me break even investment at this point, say E. Okay, so at this point my investment per worker equal to depreciation per worker. Okay, so at break even point, if you cannot hear me, adjust your earphone little bit. So I have this graph. Okay, now what I am going to do is very important. Okay, understand this. It's just required common sense. Okay, nothing else. Okay, it is just saying that 2 plus 2 equal 4. Okay, one is that thing. So we talk about growth of capital stock, or what provide motion to the system or motion to the model. It is change in capital stock. Okay, that I am going to do. So we have 3 central equations in the Sono model. Okay, from production side we have this one. Okay, output per worker is a function of capital per worker. From demand side we have 2 equations. One is consumption per worker, second is investment per worker. Can you everyone? There are 3 central equations in the Sono model. So let me modify this one. This is consumption per worker equal to, this is marginal propensity to consume times output per worker. I write in this way. Okay. Can you everyone? I just substitute this value here. Okay, because we are looking at equilibrium condition. Clear? Yes, no? Okay. So write the heading central equation in the Sono model. So this part is clear, that means later part we will cover very fast. Okay? Central equation in the Sono model. Okay. So first central equation you have output per worker is a function of capital per worker. Okay. First one is output per worker is a function of capital per worker. Write small k. Okay. Second central equation, okay, is that consumption per worker is what? Marginal propensity to consume times output per worker. Okay. See, your output per worker is a function of capital per worker. Your consumption per worker is a function of capital per worker because saving propensity is given. Okay. So on the endogenous variable, because this we are going to determine within the system, okay, is dependent on capital per worker. Okay. So on the endogenous variable in the model, okay, it is determined by the accumulation of capital stock. Okay. That is why we are saying economic growth is a process of accumulation of capital stock. Is it clear, everyone? As we accumulate more capital stock, there will be more growth in output. When you have more growth in output, that means more economic growth is taking place. Okay. Third central equation is that investment per worker is a function of saving per worker. Okay. This also is a function of K. Okay. Let me clarify one. So Y, C and I is dependent variable. Saving propensity is constant. Okay. Independent variable is what? Capital level ratio. This is your independent variable. Okay. So this accumulation of capital stock, okay, determining your investment, consumption and income. Everyone is dependent on your accumulation of capital stock. Okay. So that is why economic growth is a process of accumulation of capital in stock. Okay, and here we will take total derivative. Okay, why? Because we have only one variable. Okay, so we will take total derivative. Okay, and in discrete form, how we take it? Let me do it here. Then I will do it in properly. Okay, so what we do is that these three sentence equation we have, we use the law of motion of growth in capital in stock that we have done equation. Okay, so in the law of motion that we have done, or the growth of capital in stock, we achieve steady state where change in capital in stock per worker equal to 0. Right? Yes or no? Okay. When change in capital in stock equal to 0, my saving per worker equal to depreciation per worker. Investment equal to depreciation. Okay? And that point corresponding to this one. This point, K star. Okay? When my investment per worker equal to depreciation per worker, my change in capital in stock will be 0. Okay? So when I put the motion, okay, I want to look at how my endogenous variable in per worker term, okay, is changing at steady state. Okay? Again I am repeating. I want to look at how my output per worker is growing at a steady state, how my consumption per worker is growing at a steady state, how my investment per worker is growing at a steady state, given the assumption that growth in labor force is 0, improvement in technology is 0. That means there is no growth in labor force, no growth in technology. Okay. At the end of the lecture, I will more clarify. Okay, more break it out. Okay, first do it. The recording is now. So how we take the derivative? You people know it. I write in simple way first. Change in y over change in small y. Okay. Change in output per worker divided by change in capital per worker. Okay. Equal to f prime k. This is what? Marginal product of capital per worker. Okay. Generally we write d for total derivative, dy by dk, small y. Okay. Derivative of output per worker with respect to capital per worker. Okay. So we write f prime k. So we can write this equation as change in y output per worker, okay, equal to f prime k small k. This means marginal product of capital per worker. This is what capital per worker times change in capital per worker. And at steady state, capital per worker is 0. Okay. So my growth in output per worker will be 0. Again, you will say growth equation is delta y by y, small y writing. So divide by y, it will not change anything. Okay. What is your delta change in capital stock at steady state? 0. So growth in output per worker, I just write delta y. You can write this thing also. Is 0 at steady state. So when you are at steady state, capital stock per worker is not changing. Output per worker is also 0. Okay. Output growth in output per worker is also 0. Clear? Yes or no? Okay. So given these three sentence equation that we have, okay, let's put motion to this sentence equation. Okay, putting motion to the sentence equation. So I use d term or delta term. Which one you are comfortable? I use the proper derivative term d or delta. What do people want me to use? D. Okay. So change in output per worker over. This is what? Change in output per worker due to change in your capital per worker. Okay, you can remember this. Equal to f prime. Here, this is marginal product of capital per worker. Okay. Instead of writing this in denominator, I write this here, this way. This is nothing but your change in capital stock per worker. At steady state is 0. I will put this equal to 0. Okay. Now, you can divide this by y also. It will not change. Okay. So this is growth rate in output per worker. Okay. So this is your first equation. You can write 1 prime. Second. change in consumption per worker due to change in capital per worker. Okay, it will be 1 minus S F prime K. Okay, I take this term that side, so it will be dk. It is same as this term. Okay, again you can write small c here, it will not change. So this is growth rate in consumption per worker. Okay, third one, change in investment per worker due to change in capital per worker. Okay, it will be as F prime K. This is margin profit to save time, margin product of capital per worker. Okay, I take this in that case. Okay, now at steady state, okay, investment per worker equal to depreciation per worker, so dk will be equal to 0. Okay, and those who are wondering, if you remember our equation is that growth equation, okay, growth of capital stock equation as of fk minus delta. Okay, so when my investment per worker is greater than depreciation per worker, next period there will be addition to capital stock. Okay, capital stock increases, say point K1. From K1 we move to K star. Okay, when your investment per worker is less than delta K, depreciation per worker is more than investment per worker, depreciation is more than investment. Next period capital stock will decrease, capital stock per worker will decrease. So you move from K2 to K star. From left hand side you will move it. Okay, and when investment equal to depreciation, investment per worker, okay, equal to depreciation per worker, that means change in capital stock equal to 0, and you will be having K star, steady state level of capital stock. Okay, so I am taking this term to be 0, this term to be 0, this term to be 0. Okay, so this term multiplied by 0, I will get 0. This is also 0, this is also 0. Okay, if your capital stock per worker, I divided by K, it means the same thing. Okay, if capital stock per worker, you can divide by K also. If capital stock per worker at a steady state is growing at 0 rate or not at all growing, given that labor force is not growing, okay, so growth in output per worker will be 0, growth in consumption per worker will be 0, growth in investment per worker will be 0. Okay, divide by R. Okay, clear everyone? This statement is clear. When at a steady state, if growth in capital per worker is 0, okay, then your growth in output per worker will be 0, growth in consumption per worker will be 0, growth in investment per worker will be 0. Okay, yes or no? Okay, so in the SONO model, when there is no technological progress, okay, growth rate on the endogenous variable at a steady state will be 0. Okay, again I am repeating the statement because when I introduce technological progress, economy will grow at a rate equivalent to your technological progress. Okay, so at a steady state when there is no technological progress, okay, on the variable in the economy in per worker term is not growing at a steady state. Okay, okay, so this in per worker term. Okay, now let me open this up, okay, and do in aggregate term. Okay, what is happening to my total output, total consumption, and my aggregate investment. Okay, so remember this: growth in output per worker is 0, growth in consumption per worker is 0, and growth in investment per worker is 0. Okay, when I am putting motion to the central equation, okay, that means when I am taking change in capital stock per worker at steady state which is 0, I am putting it to the central equation, I am getting that my endogenous variable is not growing at steady state. Okay, it is remaining same. That means that if I am consuming 30 unit of output, okay, out of say 50 unit of output, I am consuming 30 unit of output, I will keep consuming 30 unit of output at a steady state, and investment will be 20 unit every period. It is constant at 20. Because output per worker is 50. Okay, this I am giving simple example. So at a steady state, if my consumption per worker is 30, then investment per worker will be 20. Can you everyone? That is steady state, it will not change. Okay. Revise what we do every lecture, okay? It is not that you do the lecture, then you pronounce the book and copy, and then it will be done. Okay. Now, this I am doing for you people in absolute term also, so that you can understand what is actually happening. So output per worker, you know it is not growing at a steady state. I did not buy by. Okay, I am taking log of this output per worker. When you have in this way, when you are taking a logarithm, what you will write? Log of y minus log of n. Yes or no? Everyone? Okay. Now I am going to take derivative with respect to time. Okay. This is what? My growth rate in output per worker. This is my growth rate in output, total output. This is my growth rate in labor force. And remember, we have taken growth rate in labor force and dot by n equal to 0. Okay. And technological progress to be 0. Now, at a steady state, when I put the equation of motion, okay, in our central equation, what is my growth rate in output per worker? 0, right? Okay. So 0 will be equal to y dot by y minus n dot by n. You can add change in y over y. And growth rate in labor force is 0. Okay. So my output growth, actual output growth will also be 0. Okay. So here, when my labor growth is, say if it is n, next I will show you, then your actual output must be growing by rate n. Okay. Because this term will go that side, it will be growing by n. Okay. And reasoning I will do later on. Okay. Since my population growth is 0, okay, the total growth in output at a steady state will be 0. Okay, can you everyone? Yes or no? Okay. Similarly, you can do for capital stock also. Okay, capital per worker. Okay, this is also constant at a steady state K star. Okay, so when you are taking log of this one, d over dt, you have to write this equation like K log d over dt minus log of n d over dt. Okay. So growth of capital stock at a steady state is 0. So this term will be 0. This is what? K dot by K. This is growth in capital stock, your actual capital stock, and growth in labor force is 0. So growth in capital stock at a steady state is 0. K dot by K is 0. Similarly, you can take out for consumption, total consumption, total investment. So in absolute term also, okay, your growth rate of consumption, investment, as when I am saying growth rate, okay, is 0. Okay, is it clear to everyone what we have done till now? So we have constructed a steady state, okay, where all the endogenous variables are not growing. Okay, that means their growth rate is 0, and economy will stay at that steady state forever. Okay, given this two assumption and given our saving propensity and depreciation rate. Okay, now one more thing I do here. Okay, then I will stop for today. Then I will give the notes. Okay, today we exceed the time. The notes we do some other day. Okay? Suppose we have two countries. This video I will be uploading, so you people can be watching. Okay. Suppose we have two countries, country 1 and country 2. Okay. This is important. Okay. When we do the saving part, it will be more important. Okay. So both country population growth is 0, n dot by n equal to 0. Technological progress is 0. Similarly, in country 2 also, population growth is 0. Technological progress is 0. Production function is same. Okay. Output per worker is a function of capital per worker. Same. Both countries have same shape of production function also. There is no difference. Okay. And your equilibrium condition is also same. Okay, so you get this term, saving per worker equal to investment per worker. Same thing you get here. Okay, so this is your production function. Same for country 1 and country 2. I am not making any difference. Okay, so same production function you have for country 1 also and country 2 also. This is production function in per worker term. Okay, both countries are saving. Okay, at the same propensity, say 0.3, 0.4, whatever you want. This is your saving per worker graph. Okay, or investment per worker graph. Now, country 1 depreciation is different than country 2. Okay, say country 1 depreciation is 0.2 and country 2 depreciation is 0.1. Okay, then what differences we get in these two countries? Can anyone do it? If you have done proportional relationship class properly, you will be able to tell me. One country have depreciation rate of 10% and other country have depreciation rate of 20%. Then what will happen? So what we are saying is that we are considering two countries having same saving propensity, okay, saving rate, constant population growth which is 0, constant technological progress which is 0, okay, production function is same, everything is same, okay. Only difference is that one country has depreciation more than the other country. Done. What? That country? Nice then. How we can put it that in the graph? Yeah, you are correct. Yeah. So country that is having depreciation rate of 0.1, okay, depreciation line will be finite. If you remember the graph, okay, let me put it here. Okay, proportional relationship. This is available in the YouTube. Please have a look at it. Okay. So you have y-axis, x-axis, 45 degree line, divide both axis equally, okay. So if y value is 1, x value will be 1, oh here I take y, sorry, here I take x. So if x value is 1, y value will be 1, okay, x value is 2, y value will be 2. So this is 45 degree line, those who know mathematics. So here y equal to x, okay. So here you have slope of 1. Here you have slope of less than 1. Anything you have slope delta y by delta x is less than 1. Here delta y by delta x is equal to 1. And any line above this 45 degree line, delta y over delta x is greater than 1. Okay. So proportion relationship, because depreciation is a proportion of your capital stock. Okay. So if your depreciation is higher, okay, line will be steeper. Okay. That means more capital stock is depreciating every period. Okay. So when my depreciation rate is 0.2, my depreciation line will be steeper compared to this one. Okay. So for 0.2, I make this depreciation line, and my depreciation rate is 0.2. For country 1, I do draw with blue line. Okay. In country 2, depreciation rate is 0.1. That means each period my capital stock is depreciating less compared to country 1. So it will be flatter compared to country 1. Okay. Now, steady state level of capital stock is that level of capital stock at which your capital stock is not changing. Okay. That means investment per worker equal to depreciation per worker. So in country 2, okay, your steady state level of capital stock will be lower. I write 2 for country 2 compared to country. This is country 1, right? So in country 1, steady state level of capital stock will be lower. Why? Because depreciation rate is higher compared to country 1. Okay. In country 1, steady state level of capital stock. Sorry, this is country 2. Yeah, at country 2, steady state level of capital stock will be higher compared to country 1. In everyone, only thing I change, okay, in the depreciation rate. Okay, everything I keep the same. Okay, when a country has higher depreciation rate, your depreciation line will be steeper. Okay, that means your break even point, okay, will be at much before than your country 2 case. This graph is clear to everyone? Okay. So from this analysis we know that, okay, that depreciation rate also play an important role in determining your steady state level of capital stock. Okay, lower the depreciation rate, higher will be the your steady state level of capital stock, and higher will be your output per worker. That means that country will have higher standard of living. Just look at this. So country 2 are having high standard of living, output per worker is higher, everything is same, only depreciation is different, and country 1 have lower output per worker, that means lower standard of living. Okay, so the capital stock depreciation rate also play an important role in order to determine your steady state level of capital stock, okay, as well as standard of living of the country. Okay, I stop here. So